Hello there, Tottenham fans. Good morning. It is Monday, January the 3rd, 2022, and this is your daily update on all things Tottenham news. It is Monday, but it is bank holiday, so we're still not, as of yet, at the first business day of the new year, and that may explain why there hasn't been too much activity in this January transfer window yet. Following on from our frustrating but ultimately successful victory against Watford on New Year's Day, we are now looking forward to our next game on Wednesday night away to Chelsea in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. Chelsea on the back of 1 day less of rest for them following their 2-2 draw last afternoon in the Premier League with Liverpool. So let's get straight into it. Not much to report on, but over the weekend there has been some transfer news. The first one, probably the most shocking, is that according to the Daily Mail online, Romelu Lukaku, the Chelsea striker who, as of late, has shown that he doesn't particularly want to be a part of Chelsea and has expressed interest in the Sky Italia interview that to go back to Italy. However, Daily Mail Online is reporting that Romelu Lukaku, in quotes, wants to reunite with former Inter Milan boss Antonio Conte at Tottenham. That does come from a report in Italy with the £98 million striker in for Chelsea showdown talks with Thomas Tuchel today after being dropped against Liverpool. Listen, to be entirely honest with you, I would say that this story has about a 0% chance of coming true. Chelsea don't deal with Tottenham. Chelsea and Tottenham have never particularly done a lot of business together ever since the contentious dispute in which we saw Frank Arneson, our very promising and very talented director of football, leave Tottenham under the Martin Jol era to go to work for Chelsea. And the relationship between Daniel Levy and Roman Abramovich has been pretty sour ever since that. So I don't see it happening. Chelsea certainly don't need the money, and Tottenham certainly would struggle to afford him, even if there was any interest in both sides wanting to make that sort of thing happen. And just to go on the back of that, according to FootballInsider247.com, who quotes John Wenham, who works for or who operates on his Lily White Rose social media channels, that there is he is absolutely certain that there is no chance of this transfer happening. It would be good if we can't get hold of Dusan Vlahovic. If you ask me, that someone like Romelu Lukaku would offer Tottenham a whole bunch of different strategies available up front. He's powerful, he's strong, he's big in the air, and it would be great to be able to offer Harry Kane some competition up front and some more options to play with two central strikers, or just to change things around. Either way, I don't see this happening. So let's move on. The next piece of information comes from cultofcalcio.com, which is looking at the story that Jose Mourinho is reportedly eyeing a shock transfer for one of his ex-midfielders from Tottenham. The Roma boss has long been linked to a central midfielder throughout the recently concluded summer transfer window, and yet are still in a pursuit of a successful transfer in that regard. According to reports from Calcio Mercato, Tanguy Ndombele is a name that has emerged in recent days as a potential suitor, and someone that apparently Jose Mourinho has a lot of respect for and a lot of interest in, which to me also seems like it's far-fetched given how the relationship that Jose Mourinho had with Tanguy Ndombele when he was at Tottenham wasn't particularly clear and clean-cut. Certainly at the very start of their relationship, Jose Mourinho treated Tanguy Ndombele with the same level of, I guess you call it love or interest or respect, as has been seen by all of the previous Tottenham managers that have played with him, Pochettino and Nuno Gomez, and also of late Antonio Conte. None of them seem to be able to get their best from the man. All of them seem to feel like he causes some sort of trouble in the dressing room, and or his fitness and desire to play the game, or his overall attitude is not something that warranted any kind of first team status. And certainly the price tag that we paid for him in 2019 has certainly not lived up to be worth any kind of value there. So again, I find it particularly far-fetched to think that Jose Mourinho would want to take the weight of that relationship or the weight of that transfer fee off of Tottenham's head and take it on to Roma. Also, I don't know if Roma could afford the salary demands that Tanguy Ndombele certainly has. I think he gets paid £200,000 a week, £10 million a year on a 6-year contract at Tottenham, of which 3 years still remain. So I find it far-fetched that Roma, who are in financial difficulties, would be able to afford a price that Daniel Levy would want to let him go for and also take on the salary demands. But that being said, Roma have pursued moves for Granit Xhaka, Denis Zakaria, Boubacar Kamara and Florian Grilic so far, but have seen none of them come to fruition. So this is just the latest in a long line of potential suitors for Jose Mourinho in his search for a central midfield role, but probably just another one that's a little bit too far-fetched for my liking. That being said, I do think Ndombele, if he would fit any particular style of play, he probably would fit into the Italian league far more effectively than he has done into the English league. The English league seems to move at a quicker pace than his natural fitness and natural athleticism allows for. Very talented player physically, but unfortunately, I just don't think his attitude is in the right place for a future at Tottenham. Be great to get him off the books and to try and raise some money for other transfers and also bring down the wage bill. But I'm not entirely convinced that Roma is the likely destination, if there is one, for Tanguy Ndombele in this January transfer window. One midfielder that's probably not leaving Tottenham this winter is Harry Winks. Harry Winks is considered to be a perfect player for Conte's system at Tottenham after a major development. And this has come from one of the pundits at Football Insider, who says that who when he's referencing Antonio Conte, who last week said that Harry Kane is a very, very good player. And he's someone that Tottenham cannot afford to lose this month. And actually, as quoted by Sky Sports on the 31st of December, last day of last year, Antonio Conte did confirm that Harry Winks will stay at Tottenham after this month's transfer window. It's a rare one for me to find myself agreeing with any positive sentiment about Harry Winks. I don't think he is a player that is genuinely good enough for a team that is striving for bigger things than we currently have at Tottenham. Champions League teams need Champions League level players, and I'm not entirely convinced that Harry Kane is the Champions League level. However, that said, I do think over the last few games and since Antonio Conte's arrival, he has played very well. He has shocked me and shocked a lot of the Spurs community with his high levels of performance. And he's certainly someone that I don't see leaving, obviously in line with Conte's comments, but also someone that I see hanging around in the future. But in an ideal world, Tottenham will strengthen and improve their midfield options, hopefully seeing a couple of players that are going to be leaving, a couple of players coming in, and Harry Winks can then maintain his place as a squad player that can play well within the Antonio Conte system, but hopefully not in the future to be a first-team regular. Talking about players that could be on their way out of Tottenham this January, one name that comes up is Dele Alli. Chris Sutton has told BBC Radio 5 Live 606 that Tottenham star Dele Alli's days are numbered, in quotes, at Spurs under Antonio Conte. Dele was was an unused substitute during the late 1-0 win over Watford on Saturday afternoon. Of all of the games that Antonio Conte has played, Dele Alli had put in a very solid performance in the 2-2 draw with Liverpool at home in early December. He did make a couple of late bursting runs into the box, offered something different, and it was a Dele Alli that a lot of people thought might be the new Dele Alli, a reinvigorated Dele Alli that's come back to life following 2 to 3 years of nothing following the Champions League final season in which he was last at his best. Since then, unfortunately, he's returned to type against Southampton and against Crystal Palace, and obviously I think, judging by the fact that he hasn't managed to get into the team for very much at all, or at all since, especially against Watford, then I think it's likely that Dele Alli will be very high on the list of potential exits this January if there are to be any. One of the most likely candidates to purchase someone like Dele Alli would probably be Newcastle United, who are in a massive relegation battle. They do have the funds available to pay for someone like Dele Alli. for a reasonable fee that, maybe as high as 10, 15, 20 million, which, is a far fall from the Dele Alli of old. But certainly they could take that on and also take on his salary demands. I think it would be good for Dele Alli to move on. As much as I appreciate him and wish him the best with his career, I do think that his time at Tottenham has been increasingly disappointing as the years have gone on, and his mind seems to be more on enjoying his life and his clout that he has in various social circles. So if Tottenham are to try to bring together a squad of players that are generally more invested in their careers and have the right attitude, the right energy, and the right skill level for a Champions League push and future successes under Conte, then I would imagine that team and that squad does not include Dele Alli. Speaking about Dele Alli, the Express also makes a mention that Tottenham are soon to learn Real Madrid's final decision on Isco as Dele Alli does near the exit door. Real Madrid boss Carlo Ancelotti has reportedly made a final decision on Isco as Tottenham prepared to be handed a £5 million January transfer opportunity. An attacking midfielder of the Spaniards' quality could be exactly what boss Antonio Conte requires if Dele Alli seals his exit from North London, as many have predicted. Isco was deployed from the bench in Madrid's 1-0 defeat to Getafe on Sunday. Such is the scale of the 29-year-old's struggles for minutes. Even that made headlines as Ancelotti continues to overlook the former Malaga man in favour of other options. Fans wonder whether Isco's cameo was a sign of Ancelotti's preparing to phase him back into the side. According to AS, however, the Italian boss's final decision on the player is set to give him practically nothing in terms of game time. This is a player that I'd love to see at Tottenham. Certainly someone that's still at 29 years old, got the best part of his age and career ahead of him. Maybe he has 4 or 5 years of talent for the sort of player that he is. He's a player that we could afford, and certainly someone that I think would fit in well into the Tottenham system under Antonio Conte. We'll have to wait and see, but I do think there'll be a case of players will have to leave in order to make room for players coming in the midfield. We are overcrowded in the midfield, even though we don't particularly have a very strong first team. That being said, because of the likes of disappointing recent signings in Lo Celso and Tanguy Ndombele, along with Dele Alli, all of which may be allowed to move on if the funding is right and if the opportunities to replace them are there with reasonable price tags attached to those players as well. Only other real news to talk about, guys, is that Celtic are a little bit concerned, or at least journalist Pete O'Rourke admits that Celtic may face an uphill battle to sign Cameron Carter-Vickers from Tottenham Hotspur if his form in Scotland continues. The defender has emerged as a key man under the management of Ange Postecoglou, having joined the club on loan in the summer. He's actually scored 2 goals in his time at Celtic this last first half of the transfer window, and his form has been such that he's been linked with a permanent move to the club. However, he's saying that with a £6 million asking price on the defender's head, it's a fee that Celtic could meet and maybe increasingly likely to actually try and pay that fee immediately, rather than his form continuing to improve, the price tag going up, and other clubs in the Scottish Premiership who may also be looking at him as a solution to their potential defensive requirements. Cameron Carter-Vickers is a player that's only played a couple of times for Tottenham. I think it's 6 times in total over the... Oh, sorry. Let me look. Where am I? 5 times in all in senior appearances for Tottenham. 4 of them coming in the 16-17 season. 1 coming this season when he played in the 1-0 Conference League qualifying defeat to Pascos de Ferreira. It doesn't seem like he has a future at Tottenham. And so it would be nice to recoup some of the money spent on this man in wages and in various other fees over the 6 years that he's been at the club. I think a £6 million bid for the American international would be something that Daniel Levy would be happy to accept. And we would wish Cameron Carter-Vickers all the best with his future in Scotland. That's kind of it, guys, at the moment. There really isn't that much other news. I would be doing a preview of the Chelsea game later on today, tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning, that goes through the potential lineups and my predictions on the game. But in terms of news, there's not really much going on too early in the transfer market. But as I say, that is because today is the last day of the Christmas holidays. It is a bank holiday, and so hopefully everyone's back to work tomorrow, and the rumour mill will start flying round increasingly quickly, and Tottenham can get some business done early on in this particular window. All right, guys, join me again soon. Thanks for watching, and as always, come on, you Spurs.